Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. This is Howie, and I'm here to help you win with money. Hello, in today's video, I'm going to cover money challenges. We are in a new year. It is January 5th, 2022. And what you see on Facebook or any social media is a lot of these New Year's resolution or New Year's goal or these type of challenges. There's health challenges, there's weight loss challenges, there's ride my bicycle for 2,000 mile challenges. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about weight and exercise and fitness stuff, but what I do want to look at is all these challenges regarding money. So here's a quick glance of one. You can see this. There's just a bunch of different ones. You save different amounts each week or each day. Each one has a different agenda. Here's a 52-week money one. Here's another one. Here's another one. And there's a bunch of them. So I want to show you a couple of them, and I'll break down the math for you. But before I do so, if you're on Facebook and you want to level up your investment thinking, you can join me here on Investing 102 on Facebook. So let's start off with the simple one. This is a 100 envelope challenge. You start with $2 in each envelope, and then you increment by $2, and in the first 100 days, you're going to be able to save $10,000. And you see the web is actually saying, hey, this is good, blah, blah, blah. Some people alter this. Some people did make this a 200-day challenge instead of a 100-day challenge. And I'll go over the numbers and explain why that is. So the beauty of Excel is you can model anything out. With a simple formula, I can model it out and then show you what the numbers look like and explain to you what it means. So here's what it looks like. 100 days, you see the days, it's just a formula, you increment. I actually have a formula to do the weeks. And then the way the envelope works is the envelope, this is actually not the numbers, the envelope dollar amount. It's on the day one, the envelope number will have a 2 on it, and then a 4, and then a 6, and an 8. And the way it works is each day it's supposed to be a $2 increment. And here's what you're saving. So I added it all up, I listed it out. Here's a running total. You can see it. And at the end of this, exactly what you expect, 10,100. But what does that mean? On the first week, you're saving $70 a week, okay? Anybody know what that means? So what I want to do next is just use this total per week, and I want to multiply it by 4. This will give you a really quick estimate of what a monthly saving rate would be. So this is a not accurate. Remember, I'll explain why, and I'll show you monthly saving rate. And if you don't believe me, we'll go over the numbers real quick. So what does this mean? On the first week, you're going to put $2 in an envelope on day 1. Day 2, you're going to put in a $4 in an envelope. On day 3, you're going to put $6. On this day, day number 8, you're putting $16. So for the end of the week, that week, you put in $70. If you can save $70 a week, right, you see this, $70. If you multiply by 4 for this month, that would be $280. Okay, but we're not done yet. $280 is not really bad. If you multiply this, so let's see what the yearly will be. So you just take this number, times it by, so on average, that's what it will look like. And I'm hoping you see this real quick because it's giving you a projection of what your saving rate would normally be. If you can hit that every week, why not do it every week for the rest of your life? And this is what this number would be. If you can save $5,000 a month, why not do $5,000 a month for the rest of your life? That means you're saving $60,000 at the rate that you are going. And you can see where I'm getting with this. So this is your yearly, this is your monthly. So let's talk about here. January 9th, which is next week. I start this thing, January 9th, I put in $18. January 10th, I put in $20. January 11th, I put in $22. At the end of the week, I just put in $168 into the envelope. What does that mean? If I use this average, whatever this average is, if I use this for the whole month of January, I will average out to $672 a month, which if you annualize that, that means you're saving $8,000 a year. The average family in America does not actually save that much. So I think you're going to see where I'm getting at. Let's just skip over to week number 6 here. So you're doing this program, and now on day 30, you got to put $60 into this envelope. Then on day 31, you got to put $62 into the envelope. And at the end of this week, you just put away $462. And at that rate, if you multiply it by the month, you can see where trouble is coming. So now we're barely in February, because this is 30 days of envelope, so we're right here. We're barely in February, and now you're putting in $462 a week, which means your average saving rate using this pace at $462 is $1,800 per month. And if you did that for the rest of your life, you'd be doing $22,000 a year. And now I'll show you why the challenge sort of gets really difficult. What if you only make $600 a week? There's almost no way you're going to pay your bills and be able to save this. And this is not even the hardest part. Let's just scroll a little bit down. We didn't even pick a number that's closer to the end. If you're into this 100-day challenge, and by right around even let's say week 12, okay, you're on day number 73. Put $146 into the envelope. Then tomorrow, put $148 in the envelope. At the end of this week, you just saved $1,000. That 1 week. And if you were to maintain that pace for the whole year, it would be $4,002. And you're like, well, how can that be? So I'm going to show you real quick how can that be. And we'll use numbers that are a little bit easier. So let's use this one, week number 5. We'll pull this 365 here. Well, let's do pace. Let's do pace by value, so you can see what I'm getting at. Hang on 1 second. Let me just fix my little formatting issue. We're gonna do something like this. So let's pick 1 week above. Actually, I like the green color, so I do want to paste. We'll break. Whoops. I'm gonna do something funny. I'm gonna break it first and then paste it again and do it right, so you get the color formatting. So I'm gonna paste it wrong and then paste it again using values, and you'll see. So if we're testing that one out, look what happens. So on this blue one, we started with this. We're saying your average would be $1,400. But if you want to take a true average, we'll take 1 week before and 2 weeks after. Look at the average. It's $1,652. That's a lot of money. And if you want to test it using a different average, we can do it multiple ways. We can do it like this. I'll show you real quick. We'll do the average without counting the last one. So you see that would be 1,260. If you're counting 2 weeks before using this week with this week, this is the current week that we're in, and 1 week after. If you did it that way, the numbers will be a little bit less than your current week average. If you're looking at this week and you want to count 2 weeks after you, then it looks like this, and you'll see. Either way you look at it, that's why this ballpark is a really good way to tell you how much money is your monthly allocation. So what's my point here? In advance, you knew what the challenge was asking. How you save $10,000 in 100 days. But realistically, ask yourself a different question. Were you ever able to save $10,000 in all the year? Because if you couldn't do it in a normal year, how are you going to condense it into 100 days? And then lastly, even if you could do it, what are the odds of you saving this much money on this week? In a single week, if you're saving $1,344, and if you can do that, then sure. But if you can do that, hopefully I would think that this challenge really isn't really hard for you, because if you can save that much on that week, that means you have a lot of money. You should be already doing very well for yourself, right? If you don't, you should get yourself a financial coach, because what it's telling me is if you got a surplus of $1,000 a week, that's a surplus of about $5,000 a month. Your savings rate in free cash flow terms means you have an extra $64,000 that you could invest. And if you don't know what to do with the money, get yourself some professional help, a financial coach or whatever. We'll walk you through it. We'll help you out. But you see what the problem is with this challenge is most people just don't make enough money to do this. In fact, I still think a better answer is, why don't you just work on your budget? You can determine in advance what your average monthly saving rate is. And if your monthly saving rate can be close to this number, then maybe you're good, right? Maybe then all you need is a way to make this happen. So if you just filter it like this, right, you can determine, do you make enough money to do this challenge the way it was designed? If not, like I said, a better exercise is just do your monthly budget, see what your free cash flow is. If your free cash flow is only $2,000 a month, that's still not a bad thing. It means at the end of the year, you can invest or save $31,000 of your free cash flow if you can do that for 12 months in a row. You see how simple this is? But this challenge can still be hard for you to do because these weeks are just very hard for you to hit. These numbers are very hard for you to hit. That's why some people stretch this challenge into 200 days instead of doing it 100 days. With the same concept of the envelope increasing in value, and it's the same number, they're going to try to save $10,000. So let me know what you think on that one. I'm going to move on to the next one. Look at this. Somebody else is doing this no spend January one. And you know what? I don't like that challenge either. Because honestly, what do you do if you run out of something? You not spend. Well, so there are many ways around that. You just buy twice as much of everything you need. Double the amount of eggs, double the amount of bread I need, double amount of toilet paper and soap and everything else. And whoop, in the month of January, I'm not going to spend anything. I'm not going to eat out. I'm not going to spend anything. All my groceries are already bought in the fridge, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the month, it looked like I spent nothing even if I hit it. And what does that mean? Come February, things that you didn't buy, you have to replenish, right? You got to replenish all the bottled waters and your canned soup and all the toiletries and toothpaste and everything else that you didn't spend on. You doubled up on your deodorant stick and you're down to your last one. You got to rebuy them, whatever it may be. So I don't like this. Bottom line is, it's just if you look at accounting, it's whether I count it for this month or next month or last month. Whatever you account it on, it really doesn't matter. When you average it out for the whole year, it still averages the same. It doesn't really matter. I think those things are really not as good. Here's some other challenges. I mean, there's a whole bunch of challenges. I show you that. So what's the point of this video? If you want to do something more productive. Now, I like challenges because they do try to help you maybe think of something that you haven't tried before. But a more better challenge is just do your budget. Do your spending plan. Most people still don't know how much they spend versus how much they make, and whether they're negative every month or positive every month. They don't have an idea. They don't know how much they spend on eating out or gas on their car or how much their cell phone bills are costing them, whatever it may be. They don't even know how much money they spend on subscriptions, right? Some of us have so many of them now, we lose track. We forget that there's Netflix and Disney Plus and your Dropbox has a subscription. Microsoft Office 365 has a subscription. Some of us are paying for Apple Plus or Apple TV. You're paying for the extra storage with Apple. And it just keeps on going. I'm paying for Grammarly. I'm paying for... What else do you pay for? There's everything. All these subscriptions that you sign up for. And in the end, you may be paying $300, $400, $500 in subscription costs. And sometimes you don't even know you're paying for it because half the time you may not even be using some of the things. This is the famous gym membership subscription that you're paying for. And most of us don't go to a gym right after the 10th day of the year or whatever it may be. So, hey, use the gym membership. You still got, today is January 5th. You got 5 more days before most people quit. So, feel good about that. If you're still going to the gym, hurrah, hurrah. I feel good for you. I'll give you an applause. But most people don't use these things. So a better way to do the challenge is do your budget. And really, if you invest in a 401k plan, that helps. If you're doing other stuff, that helps also. if you're doing money in a Roth. Now, this is where getting good advice matters. Because saving money and putting it in a bank may not do very much for you. So how you save and what you save it in and what type of asset you're buying does matter. So these are the areas where if you're doing all this hard work and you're buying something like a gold coin or silver coin, and if you're making very little money on your asset that you're buying, then maybe you have to rethink your strategy. Because if your asset didn't produce anything positive, then maybe it's just a waste of time. So there are a lot of ways to improve your finances. With that being said, let me know what's the craziest money challenge you have done and whether or not it helped you or if it discouraged you. Just share with me your story. Like I said, I do use goals, but they're very different from these particular challenges. I use this thing as I don't care how little money you save, let's try to do it by doing it by with $1. If you can do $1. And then the goal is to increment it, right? Because really, I'm trying to get you to learn a new behavior. You increment it, you save a little bit more. And then my next goal is if you can do the $1, then try to hit the $10 benchmark per day. And if you can hit that, try to move the benchmark to $100 a day. And then obviously the hard one is $1,000 a day. Because this, and I use it in everything. I don't just use it in the stock market. I use it for dividends. If you are making $1 a day in dividends, you need to average about $365 in dividends in a year. If you're trying to hit the $10 a day in dividends, right, that's $3,650 a year. If you're trying to hit $100 a day in dividend, that's $36,000 a year. And obviously, if you're hitting $1,000 a day in dividends, right, that's over $365,000 a year in dividends. Anyway, that's how I use the goals and benchmark. They're really simplistic to do, but they're very hard to master because I use it in everything. I use it in my passive income. I use it in every area. I use it in my 401k match. I'm using it in my crypto. I measure it in every area, so that's how I measure up. And that's really how I do my challenge. My $1 a day challenge is much simpler, but I don't have this unusual number where it's impossible to hit. You set your own goals. I measure it year in and year out, and then I aim for increasing the dollar value that goes into each of these buckets. And over time, it really served me well. So I'm still doing it. My goal is in some of these buckets, I'm trying to increase it to hit the next tier. So anyway, hey, give me a thumbs up. Let's share this. Let's help the YouTube algorithm share this with other people who may need this. Let's do this together. Let's do this $1 at a time. As always, have a profitable day. Bye-bye.